Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day, where we continue our recitation from Rag Tilang, composition of the first Nanak. And in this sabad, which is fairly short, but quite startling in the imagery, he compares the fear, the reverence, awe of God to Bhang, which is cannabis, the intoxicant, preferred intoxicant of wandering mystics in India. And he compares his own mind to the cloth pouch that a wandering fakir uses to carry it. And he says that he has gone mad and that he is a beggar. 3 verses and a refrain. If you sit with it, it reveals layer after layer. So let's sit with the sabad carefully. The recitation first. Tilang mahalla pehla kar dooja ekko onkar Satgur Prasad Bhau Tera Bhang Khalri Mera Cheet main devana paya ateet कर कासा दर्शन की भूख मैं दर मांगो नीता नीत तो दर्शन की करो समाय मैं दर मांगत भीख्या पाय रहाओ केसर कुसम मिर्ग में हरना सर्ब शरीरी चढ़ना चंदन पक्ता जोत इन्हें ही सर्बे परमल करना की पट भांडा कहे न कोय ऐसा भगत वरण में होए तेरे नाम निवें रहे लिवलाए नानक तिन दर भीख्या पाय. So the literal working translation for this would be the awe, the fear, the love, because Bhau carries all these meanings. It is one of those words from Gurmat that gets split in English into multiple words. So it carries all of these meanings. It carries the sense of awe, the sense of love, fear. It's called Bhau. And so that, the Guru says, is my intoxicant, and my mind is the pouch, Khalri. And then he goes on to say, Main devana paya ateet. I have been ruined by love. Which love? Love of the beloved. I have been ruined into love, by love, into self-forgetting. Ateet means to forget your identity. Main devana. Devana also actually, by the Gurbani meaning of it, it means someone that loses the self. And then he says, my cupped hands are the begging bowl, karakasa, hunger for you, for your sight, darshan, ki bhook, is what fills them. And at your door, I beg, day after day, again and again. And he goes on to say, I long again. Tau darshan ki karo samay main dar mangat bhikhya paay. This is almost a repeat, the Rahau is. And then he shifts. He shifts to kesar kusam mirg mein harana sarab sariri chadna. Kesar is saffron, kusum, flowers, mirg mein harana is musk. So saffron, flowers, musk of the deer, these perfumes are rubbed into any body, regardless of who owns it. So too is the light of devotees, which is like sandalwood. It makes everything around it fragrant. And he says, Ghee pat panda kahe na koi, aisa bhakt varan mein hoye. No one refuses a pot of ghee. No one cares about what container it was in. No one rejects a vessel wrapped in silk. Such is the true devotee, beyond the question of caste. And in conclusion, Tere naam nime rahe levelai, Nanak tin dar pikya paye. Humility. Those who bow to your name, to that reality, and stay absorbed in you, Nanak is a beggar at their door. So Guruji begins with Bhau, which occurs almost 500, if not more times in Gurbani. And usually it gets translated as fear. But there are two words in Gurbani, Bhau and Pao, fear and love. And they sit very closely to each other. They're almost inseparable. In the grammar of bhakti, fear of the beloved is the love of the beloved. And it is also the Sufi tradition. Khauf and Muhabbat as two wings of one bird. So when the great Baba says, Bhau Tera Bhang, the most honest rendering is something like the awe, the fear, the love of you, all at once is my intoxicant. So it's Tera, second person. This is not abstract awe, but a trembling intimacy with someone being spoken to directly. And then he provides us with a metaphor, the metaphor of Bhang, his intoxicant. Now, you have to know that Bhang is disreputable. It is the substance of street fakirs, the wandering madmen, of people who have given up on respectability. And Baba Padshah reaches for this most disreputable available metaphor and says, this is what real devotion feels like. Not calm, not respectable, but intoxicated, unhinged, unhoused, mad in the eyes of people who have not tasted it. And what is this intoxication precisely? It is the state of forgetting you are you. This is Devana. Because Bhang produces helplessness, it dissolves the ordinary self. You forget. The very mind that thinks it has an identity, Guruji is now showing us that it is simply a container that will erase its own holder. Main divana bhaya atit. I have become mad. So divana is not simply generic madness. It is love mad. It's like a junoon. And that is what this madness is all about. And atit, which again is generally translated as renunciate, one who has gone beyond, Babaji redefines it as dissolving the ego, going beyond the ego. So main divana bhaya atit is not two events. It is not two events. He's saying, I have been ruined by love into self-forgetting. And then there is the begging, which is awesome. Because now, what we are being reminded is that as long as there is a me, with credentials, with dignity, with a station, the begging is simply a performance. The Divana Atit has lost the self that would keep score. That is why Nanak stands at the door Nita Neet every day. And again, the fragrance verse. saffron, sandalwood, musk. They can be rubbed into bodies regardless of who owns them. That's what the devotee is like. This is beautiful, casteless egalitarianism. And it also releases a fragrance. Fragrance cannot be a byproduct of self-assertion. It is a byproduct of self-loss. And then the closing line, the Guru says that those who have bowed to your name, meaning those who have absorbed into your wisdom, Nanak is a beggar at their door. Nanak is begging at the door of someone who has no home to receive the begging. Remember, there is no self left. There is no ego standing between Nanak and the beloved on the other side. So you see, we need to allow awe and its weight to come back into our lives because we have pretty much stripped it. We have stripped awe of its weight. We have stripped fear of its seriousness. We have stripped love of its costliness. This is costly. It costs you your very identity. That is what we have to recover. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.